Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here. As we start to get people filtered in, it is 9:01, so we're going to get started. Thank you so much for being here with us, no matter where in the world you're coming from. For us here in New Haven, it's 9:01 a.m., but if it's a bit earlier, or a bit later, we're so appreciative to have you here to ask questions and learn more about the YMUN registration process. So yeah, with that, let's just get started.
Hi, my name is Amanda and I'm the USG of International Delegations.
Hi, I'm Gabriella, and I'm USG of Domestic Delegations.
I'm Seren and I'm Director General of Operations.
And my name is Emma. I am the Secretary General for the conference. So hopefully you're all able to start putting some faces to maybe the names you've been seeing in emails and on our website. But yeah, we're so excited that you're here.
Gabby and I are just gonna go over like a short presentation covering some of the questions you guys have had and like some other information. And then after that, we'll have time for you to ask any questions you still might have. Okay, so we're just gonna get started. Oh, yeah, we already introduced ourselves, but this is just another slide for us. Do you want to talk about the
Yeah, of course. So, over the course of this presentation, we're going to be going over important deadlines, which are especially important since we have a few upcoming ones involving financial aid and registration closing in the coming weeks, along with payments. So, that's super important. Then we're going to go over how to use the website for both the YMUN website for expanding your information, or if you have any questions, it's a great resource and um, just for looking for stuff for like hotels and financial aid and whatnot. But also we're going to teach you how, or I guess have a walkthrough of going through registration to make accessibility towards financial aid forms, housing and lodging forms more accessible. And then we're going to go over some commonly asked questions via our FAQ section. And then we're going to open up the Zoom for questions. So feel free to put it in the chat. And also, please refrain from asking questions specific to your delegation, as we're focusing more on just general registration questions. And finally, we're going to just leave a page as a point of contact. So if you have any additional questions, you can feel free to reach out to us.
I'm going to start off with some important dates and deadlines. Most of these have already been sent to you guys in emails if you're already registered. And they're also on our website if you want to have another point of reference. Um, so they're on the slide here. The most pressing deadline is probably the one that's due in a week, which is obviously if you're registered, having your deposit turned in by 11:59 p.m. This is a 20% fee deposit, so if you're not able to, you don't have to pay the full fee yet. And if you're unsure of what the 20% may be, just send us an email and I can email you an invoice so you can better communicate that with your delegation or your school. Also due on October 11th, which is next Saturday, is our financial aid application. We'll go a little bit more into that later on in this presentation, but anyone can submit a financial aid application. It's not just limited to the people that are officially registered. If you're waitlisted, you may also submit one in the case that you do get on our actual registration. After that, on October 19th is when we will release our financial aid decision. So this will include how much money you have in your package and what sort of things that we'll be able to cover for you. Um, on November 1st is when all conference fees are due. So this is like the full payment for your delegation. Um, and just a reminder, if you aren't able to make these payments, you will be moved to our wait list unless you communicate with us beforehand to arrange like a possible extension. And next after that, November 12th is when our country committee preferences will be due. So this is like what your delegation wants to be placed in terms of committees and positions. And finally, on December 10th, all our delegate hotel and liability forms that are all on the platform will be due. Um,
Awesome. Thanks for the updates. And now we're going to move on to our website navigation. So YMUN currently offers two websites. So our primary YMUN website, where you can find a lot of important information, including those deadlines as mentioned before. But we can also find our registration platform. So to start off, we're going to talk about our YMUN official website. So as mentioned, lots of general information, and it's ymun.org. And when you first registered, that's the website where you find the registration. And this is the homepage of our beautiful website. So on top over here in this bar with About Us and registration, the most important one really is just the registration header over here. So like right here, pointed by that blue arrow. And if you hover over that, you're going to get different options of what to click on. So throughout the slides, we're going to go through very important ones. But as of right now, I think the most pressing or the most important ones to take note of if you have any pressing concerns includes our term of conditions, hotels, and fees and financial aid pages. So the next few pages, yeah, we're going to go over the pages. So terms of conditions, if you click on this download button, you should see a lot of pressing FAQs. There's actually a timeline within that PDF, and a lot of questions commonly addressed in emails can actually be found in our terms and conditions. So issues about hotels and whatnot, or just general things about conference and requirements are placed over there. And then on the second page, there's a really helpful page on hotels. So YMUN is very thankful to be partnering with several hotels in the New Haven area, and we can offer your delegation special deals if you apply via the certain links on our website. So feel free to check it out. I think YMUN offers you can go into the Omni and whatnot, and you have to apply via certain dates to ensure that you can get the deal for your delegation. So please ensure to look at that hotel specific information. And the third page that's important as well is the fees and financial aid. So not only does it offer a holistic overview of our financial aid program, it also offers options for alternatives in raising money via fundraisers and whatnot to also help your delegation attend the conference. And the next important website is a registration platform. So that's where you can find all the important forms for your delegation that you need to fill out by the certain deadlines as mentioned in the previous slides. So one of the most pressing forms right now is our financial aid application, and it has to be submitted on October 11th. And you can find that, and in the next few slides, we'll give a demonstration of what the website looks like so you can better find these forms and make sure that they're done on time. And then additional important things found on our website is the fee and payment section, which shows the fees need to be paid. In December, all forms for your delegations are due. So this includes 3 forms. 2 are submitted by the advisor, and the last one is submitted by delegates and their parents. And these include the parent supervision agreement form, the lodging and timing information form, and delegate forms. And when the country committee preference form, we go backtracking, when that form is released after payments are due on November 1st, you will be emailed that. So that's currently not on our website at the moment, but you will receive it after your delegation has made the full payment. And finally, visa letters and the process for applying for them are listed on our registration platform. So that was a lot of information. So more visual demonstration is in the next slide. Oh, so this is the homepage if when you're registered. So this is my delegation as a test delegation. So you have all your primary information, and if anything isn't up to date, feel free to just update it. And these are the important cover or titles on the website that you need to access. So the first one that's very so one of the first tabs, that's the word I was looking for. One of the first tabs is the Delegates and Advisor tab. And that's where you can put in the name of your delegates and advisors. And please note that the deadline for putting in these names is due the December 10th. And it's super important to ensure that every delegate and advisor is accounted for. So please ensure that that your delegates are inputted into here. And then if you move over to the next tab, or the next 2 tabs, because we're going to hopscotch into financial aid later, you're going to see the fees. So that corresponds with the number of delegates you've registered along with the number of advisors. So as you can see, I have 10 delegates registered and one advisor registered under my Gabby delegation. And it inputs the total amount of fees I have per delegate and advisor. And you can pay via credit card over here, actually. So it makes it really easy for digital payments, and you can put in your 20% deposit via there and make your full payment by November 1st. When it involves checks, you would have to not email us, you would have to send it via mail, and that will be covered in a future slide in payments so it's more easily visible. But if you want to pay via credit card, this is where you can access it in our fees tab. And then afterward, we're going back to financial aid. So this is a really important page where you can access our financial aid application. So you can click this button right over here and you can access the form. And please ensure that you fill it out by October 11th. It's very important in ensuring that our delegations team can go over it and best assign financial aid to schools of need. And financial aid decisions will be released on October 19th. So please fill this out by that deadline. Applications after that deadline um, will not be considered unless an extension or something like that, due to the fact that we're organizing the financial aid. And this is the next important tab. This is where you're going to find all the forms filled out, and it's especially important to fill out these forms by the deadlines to ensure that all delegates are accounted for and that conference can run smoothly. So there's three different forms that listed on this page right now, and I used two different arrow colors to distinguish the forms needed to fill out by advisor, but also by delegates and the guardians of the delegates. So in the top two over here, these are the overall delegation forms, and they should be filled out by their advisors. So this includes the participant supervision agreement and the lodging and timing form. So advisors are responsible for filling out these forms before December 10th, and they're super important to fill out. And if there's multiple advisors, the primary advisor for the delegation should fill these two forms out. Then on the bottom of over here, it it first lists the number of delegates and advisors recorded. So in my delegation, I haven't listed any names of my delegates or advisors, so that's missing. So that's demonstrated over here. And once those delegate and advisor names are inputted, delegates and their parents will be required to submit a liability and image waiver form, and you can access it via this link over here. So delegates themselves are responsible for filling out that form too to ensure that everyone can attend the conference. And please note that every delegate has to fill this out, so every row should say yes. And there is a processing time for the form to be demonstrated on the website as we're keeping note of them manually. So it may take 3 to 5 days for a submitted form to be reflected on over here, as listed on the bottom over here. So please get those forms in ASAP once registration is completed. And next is definitely applicable for our international delegations. So YMUN is very proud to have our international delegations attending from all parts of the world, and we understand that may require some visas. So in order to request a visa letter to enter the US, if you click on the visa letter tab, you can go through the steps needed to apply for this visa or apply for the visa letter themselves. And yes, so it's a multi-step process that you can find on our registration platform. And if you need additional help walking through it, you can feel free to email me and Amanda. And on that note, we're going to move through our FAQ section.
Yeah, thanks, Gabby. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the financial aid application is really open to everyone, even those on the wait list. Just in case like you make it off the wait list, we are able to process your financial aid application. And as Gabby was just explaining on the platform, this is linked under a tab called financial aid. You can submit your entire application under there. Should you have any changes or things you want to add, feel free to email us. We can add notes to your application for our future reference. And yeah, you will be notified of your package. That's like how much money you'll be receiving on October 19th. I've gotten a lot of questions about what this financial aid package could cover. We could potentially cover your travel costs. This includes like flights or trains, buses, stuff like that, lodging, like when you're living in a hotel here in New Haven, your registration fees, which are like the amount that you have to pay per delegate and advisor. Um, One really helpful thing that we encourage you to do to really make us have the most comprehensive understanding of your financial needs are for you to provide your best estimate of the amount that you will need based on specific flight and hotel information. So in the past, we've had people like just like go online and like search up like potential flights that they could take and hotels and like screenshot them and put them as a part of their application. And this really just gives more credibility to your application and allows us to move through your application more efficiently. But obviously, this isn't required if you still don't really, you're not really sure how much everything will cost for you. You can just provide your best estimate. Um, yeah, the wait list. We've also gotten a lot of questions about this. So our conference obviously is very popular, so it is currently at capacity. We filled up really quickly once registration opened. But what we will do is on October 13th, we will reevaluate the delegations that are either officially registered or on the wait list and make some waitlist movements depending on whether people have made their deposit or not. So, for example, if you are officially registered but you don't end up making this payment deadline, you will be moved to our wait list, and vice versa. A lot of people on the wait list will be moved to our official registration list. Um, yeah, so it's sort of a movement that will happen on October 13th. So we do ask that once your delegation is notified of being moved off the wait list, please try to be ready to pay your deposit as soon as possible, to ensure your spot. Um, and we have also gotten a lot of emails on people that are just like, yeah, have concerns about being on the wait list and would like to be moved off. Unfortunately, to ensure fairness of our wait lists, um, list and like the order in which people registered, we aren't able to guarantee anyone to be moved off the wait list before October 13th. So if you do not get an email that you are moved off on October 13th, yeah, that means that you might not have gotten moved off, and we will have to like figure out as time goes. So yeah, if you have any further questions, I know this is a really confusing process. Feel free to put it in the chat, and any of us will try to answer it in this meeting. Um,
So, thank you. And one of the primary ways of paying deposits is that YMUN accepts check or credit card. So when we went through the registration platform, we saw the tab that allowed delegations to put their credit card payments. But we also offer check, and checks should be addressed to Yale International Relations, Inc. and sent to our P.O. Box address at 206 Elm Street, P.O. Box number 2021-44. New Haven, Connecticut, and our zip code. So please make sure that that information is clearly present on your check and ensure that there's no issues. And we also gotten a lot of emails regarding this. And please note that we manually update our check status on our platform when we receive the checks. So simply check the platform for any updates. And yeah, so we typically when we receive the checks, we also have to put it on the platform itself. So there's no need to send an email verifying the status of your check unless it's super, super late and we're very close to the deadline. But when we do receive your check, we should update it within the coming days. So thank you.
yeah, and finally, I think yes, we have our visa letters. So, also as Gabby mentioned earlier, there is a visa letters tab in the financial aid platform. This is where you will submit all your visa letter information. So we can only issue you your visa letters after you've made your full payment. So on when you're clicking through the visa letter tab, it'll ask, have you made your full payment for all your delegates and advisors? And if you have, then I can issue you your visa letters. Please submit all your delegate and advisor visa letter information at once, as the platform will not allow you to resubmit multiple times. So if you do forget someone or you inputted something with a mistake, just email me and I'll be able to edit that when I'm making your letter. Um, it is a lot of I do get a lot of submissions, so I'm not always able to get it to you like as soon as you submitted your application for visa letters. So I'll try my best to email it to you within a week after your submission. If you have a very urgent or pressing visa letter like meeting with your agencies, or you have a very important meeting, email me and I'll try to make yours like be on the fast track and get it to you as soon as possible. But yeah, typically they'll be within like 3 to 5 days or a week. Yeah, so I think that covers mostly everything. Now we'll be going into the Q&A, which I think you can just either put your questions in the chat. I think, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Chat would probably be our best option. I don't really know if we can do anything about raising hands. So, yeah, so if you have a question, just put in the chat and we'll try to answer that for you. Oops. Okay. Wait, how do I? So, okay. Someone asked if we're gonna have access to the recording. Yes, I think we are recording this meeting and it will be uploaded on our website. Yeah. So, yeah, you can feel free to go back and watch anything that you might have missed. You want to answer the next one?
What is the question? Most people raising. Okay, so in regards to your question about making a mistake filling out financial aid form, as a general reminder for all delegations, we should if you have any issues with the form, feel free to email us so we can specially note it in your example. So if you've emailed us regarding this discrepancy in question number 4, you can just email me and Amanda, and we will specially note that and take that into account when we're filling out our when we're completing the financial aid process. But
Yeah, so okay, I see. We have a lot of delegations that are in your same situation. So if you've already paid for your flights and accommodation, unfortunately, you will still have to wait on October 13th to see, or sorry, October 19th to see if you have been moved off the wait list. We have a lot of, yeah, we have a lot of delegations that are in the same situation. So unfortunately, we're not able to offer like a guarantee for anyone. Um, The order that people come off the wait list is ordered in like the time that you registered. So the earlier you registered, the higher up you are on the wait list. So that's pretty much how the order is working.
I can
Yeah,
take that.
do you wanna?
Yeah, so unfortunately, delegations themselves are responsible for completing hotels and flights. So that is on the delegations end of handling that. So unfortunately, we can't accommodate that if the hotel and airline are doing that. And as a general reminder for future discussions, to please refrain from asking delegation specific questions and try and make this discussion more about registration and a holistic overview of that. Thank you.
Yeah, if you have specific questions for your personal situation, like you can just send us an email. We have our contact information here. So for like general conference questions, you can send an email to secgen@ymun.org, or our DG of operations, which is not on here, but I can type it into the chat. And then if you're a domestic delegation, send an email to Gabby, which is listed here. And then if you're international delegation, feel free to send an email to me. Um, someone.
So, YMUN it offers our YMUN Secretariat plans Yale to plans our conference to be very tight packed. So we have Yale Day and lots of awesome tours and speaker events. So in regards to speaking with relatives at Yale physically, um, that really depends on your advisor. There are certain places you have to be. So if you're in committee session, you obviously can't visit your relatives at Yale physically, but if your advisor permits so and it's outside or our conference hours of our conference scheduling is a better word, then I think you can accommodate that and ask your advisor. But there's not going to be a specific block in time where you can speak with your relatives at Yale, I don't think, right? Yeah.
Okay. Is it possible to know how many delegations are ahead of us? Um, yeah, so if you have like a specific concern like that, send us an email. It's hard for us to gauge the likelihood, but we can tell you approximately like how many delegations are ahead of you and how likely we think. But again, like it's really hard for us to give you like a gauge because like things can go either way. It really depends on how many people make their deposit or not. So yeah. Are there any other questions?
I think maybe we can wait around for like a few minutes to let people think
Yeah.
of brainstorm more questions.
Yeah, so same thing as I answered earlier. Um, just send me an email and then if you have a specific, you're on the wait list now.
Hi, yes. So this a few delegations have emailed regarding changing their registration information and details when they're on the wait list. So unfortunately from our end, we can't really change the information until your delegation is registered. But me and Amanda are very organized and we have special notes to keep track of delegations. So if your delegation were to be moved off the wait list, it will be promptly updated to ensure that all information is accurate.
Where are we? Okay. That's a really fun question. YMUN is pretty serious. I mean, it's just like your typical Model UN conference. If you're in a crisis or specialized committee, it'll probably be a little more fun. You'll get like crisis updates and like deal with different situations. Um, Obviously, the more standard committees are just run like your typical Model UN committee. However, we do try to make YMUN a really good time for all our delegates. We have the delegate dance, Yale Day, a lot of fun events that happen throughout the conference days. So, yeah, it's really a balance of the seriousness and fun. Um, okay.
So, um, so as mentioned in your question before to the delegation regarding updating information that isn't accurate and you're on the wait list, we already specially noted your delegation if you've already emailed us. And so if your delegation is moved, to reiterate, if your delegation is moved off, then we can make the edits. So as of right now, there's nothing we could do. So thank you. Mm, um, in regards to the next question about the waitlist being updated, so our waitlist is growing even today. So a lot of delegations are still registering since YMUN is very popular. And when registration opened up on, I think it was June 16th, a lot of delegations already filled up. So when the waitlist is being updated, on October 11th, that's when registration closes, and all the delegations that are already not on the wait list, they're required to pay their 20% deposit, if not be move off of their registration and into the list, into the wait list queue. So in that sense, the wait list is changing as it involves moving any delegation that hasn't paid their deposit onto the wait list to accommodate other delegations higher up in the wait list. And as Amanda mentioned, the wait list is done on first come, first serve. So as the wait list is being updated um, in the coming weeks, it will involve waitlisted delegations also potentially being moved on to the registration queue. So please note that.
Um, okay. Are there any tips for first-time international Model UN participants? That's a really good question. Um, we do have, like, if you have Model UN experience, obviously you can sign up for a more advanced committee, but if this is your first time even in a Model UN conference, we have a lot of beginner committees that will move at a slower pace and you'll be at people that are more your skill level. So that is an option for you if this is your first time in a Model UN conference. If you're concerned about your international, most of our delegates actually are international, so that will not be an issue for you at all. I think definitely just like, yeah, getting to know people in your committee and reviewing your background guide, obviously spending a lot of time doing research are all excellent ways to prepare for your the YMUN conference. Um, okay. So yeah, if you're a minor, you do have to come with an advisor. You're only allowed to sign up as an individual delegate with no advisor if you are 18 or above. If you have concerns about finding an advisor, you can email us and we'll try to figure something out with you. Um,
Yes. So we're noticing that we're getting a few very delegation specific questions. So we asked to refrain from asking that and to just email domestic or international delegations emails directly to ensure that we're best addressing your delegation specific questions. Um, in regards to signing up with different emails and saying to use a particular email, you can update that specifically on your registration platform. So if you go all the way to the the homepage of a registration platform, you can go to the primary contact tab. So that's in the case you need to update any pressing information like your phone number or your email. So if you have decided to use a specific email, you could update that on your platform. And that actually leads to another really important question that some delegations and that involves changing the number of delegations listed on their platform. So some delegations may decide to come with more or less students than they listed on the platform. So you can email me or Amanda directly so we can change that for you on the platform, as there's currently not a button for delegations to do that manually themselves. And please note that there is a deadline for changing the number of delegates in a delegation by the time registration closes, right? On October 11th. So please note that, and as this is time sensitive, and feel free to reach out if there's any pressing updates.
yeah, so I think position papers will be um required if you want to be eligible for awards. So, obviously that information is not out yet. You have to fill out your committee preference form, and once we assign you a position, you can go on the website, read the background guide, and work on your position papers. So a lot more information will be coming out on more committee specific information as we close registration and yeah, send people more information that way. Um,
I guess we'll wait for more questions. I guess in the meantime, pertaining to deadlines, I also remembered an additional thing. It's listed in our terms and conditions. So, this page is really important. If you have any questions and whatnot too, you can find a lot of information there. And if your delegation, in the case of any emergency or anything, needs to withdraw from our conference, you can feel free to email us. And if you've already made the payment, we can actually issue you a full refund before November 1st. That's when the full payment is due to ensure that everything's accounted for and no confusion. So unfortunately, if your delegation withdraws after November 1st, we will not be very accommodating. So please note that deadline too is very important.
Okay, thank you again, everyone who was able to join. Thank you for asking questions. If you have any questions in the upcoming days, weeks, months, anytime before the conference itself, we are always available as a resource. Please feel free to contact us through email with any additional questions, domestic@ymun.org, international@ymun.org. And if you ever have anything extremely concerning that you want to speak with me directly about, my email is secgen@ymun.org. Please feel free to use that as well if you have any questions or concerns. But we're going to call it a day with this meeting. Thanks again for coming. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We're very excited to welcome you all to the conference. Yeah, thank you so much and have a great one.